You're listening to the Oven Podcast. Your table is ready. You can follow me.
Welcome to the Oven. I'm Mario, and tonight Franco and I are having dinner with Mimo Moore. She's one of my best friends, mentors, and a jack of all trades. She's been a physician assistant, real estate investor, model, content creator, business owner, actress, and rapper. We're back at Jackson's in Comac, and I can't wait to see what Chef Poole whips up for us tonight.
Mimo Moore, ladies and gentlemen. Before you bore us with your crap, I'm just going to read through the menu.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you. For appetizer, we got burnt sprout leaves with infused sesame soy rice wine. Actually, infused sesame soy sauce with rice wine.
There you go.
Then we got infused barbecue brisket po' boy with potato roll, coleslaw, crispy onions. And for dessert, banana Foster French toast sundae with vanilla ice cream and infused chocolate sauce and caramel.
Why is it called po' boy?
I don't know where to get po' boy from.
Yeah, it's Louisiana po' boy.
But
They're the sandwiches for po', so they don't use like subs or heroes or anything like that. They call their heroes like po' boys. And they're fucking unbelievable. The food in Louisiana is probably some of my favorite. I have like the Cajun. Yeah. Oh, we could definitely do that.
You had gator down there, right?
Yeah, we had the gator. It was like gator nuggets. It was like chicken nuggets. It was just like it was deep fried. It was a little chewier, but
the taste is the same.
The taste is basically the same. Yeah, you wouldn't even know. And
I guess.
And if you put anything in sauce, like
right,
anything fried like that in sauce, it's pretty much the same.
Yeah, it's all chicken.
But that food down there is, yeah, we gotta take a trip. We gotta take a trip to Louisiana and get after that.
We need to go.
All that NOLA food.
Gator nuggets.
Eat some gator nuggets. Yeah, now even the catfish, everything they have, you would love it.
I've had catfish.
You would love it. Like their idea of like a buffet is not like fries, burgers. Like it's like, yeah, you see everything. Like what the? Where am I?
You want to go?
Yeah, right. Let's jump into this though. A few years ago, you and Chopper Zoe made a song called "Talking." Great song. The only thing I gotta ask is, how the hell did he make his way into that video? Like, what was the thought process on that? Yeah, you can watch his YouTube. You can watch his video on YouTube too. So.
He was my assistant really for the day. He's my assistant for everything. He was.
Assistant as in like he was like your driver or?
Literally.
Let me tell the story because you're messing it up. Yes, for a time I was her assistant 9 to 5 and then after work. But anyway. Instagram. I ran her Instagram account for a little bit when she thought she was like.
This was your Instagram he was running.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was reading all my DMs, guys. All the dick pics.
No comment.
All the dick pics.
So this is what happened, okay? It starts with, hey, I'm shooting a music video in Queens. I need you to come just support me and hold my coffee. I'm like, you know what? I'm off from work that day. I'll come.
Pull my arm.
Then on the way there, she texts me, hey, I'm sending you an address. I need you to pick up some models over here. Okay.
So you were her driver.
I was meeting her there. So I'm driving through Queens. I go to pick these girls up. Okay, I'm in my light blue Chevy Cruze, the girliest color car ever. I pull up to these girls. They open the door. They're like, "Oh, are you the Uber?" I'm like, "No, I'm Mimo's friend."
AKA the Uber.
The Uber. I'll take it. So now we go, right? And I'm thinking, okay, I picked up the girls. I'm here. I'm literally holding her Dunkin' Donuts, and I'm like, I'm good for the rest of the day. I wore a white thermal because I didn't know where we were. I was like, I'm not repping any colors. I don't want to annoy anybody, piss anybody off. I'm like, I'm going the safe route. And halfway through the shoot, they look at me like, hey, we need people. You got to get in. I'm like, what do you mean I got to get in?
Video vixen.
He was hurting to get in there anyway.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I'm shocked I didn't get any calls after that.
Wow, you stuck out like a sore thumb in that video.
I just rocked back and forth. I felt, I don't know. I didn't have it that day. But Ronnie, Pull up a little clip of that. We got her permission.
Oh yeah, no, we definitely need that.
I stepped up, saucing, balling, often, no hands, parking.
But yeah, tell us a little bit about that. Like what went into making a video like that? Like how do you even come up with like that idea where like the place and everything?
Yeah, I mean, we were looking for just something authentically New York.
Okay.
Something very urban. So then it was easy for everybody to get to. Chopper's a friend of mine and fellow actor. So we kind of crossed paths as far as music and acting goes.
Cool.
He was in Money and Violence, I was in Home of the Hitters, and the two shows were actually, at some point, I wouldn't say rivals, because I give the trophy to Money and Violence as being like, a bigger show.
Modest, I like it.
But fans of one show were often fans of the other.
Okay.
So they crossed paths in that sense. And somewhere along the line, I want to say my manager producer of the time probably put it together, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
Because it was actually, Chapo was actually his childhood friend.
Oh, so there's a lot like little family ties in here.
Yeah, so it was something where it was his childhood friend, and then he introduced me to him, and we ended up doing a record together. We thought it was fire, and we just filmed. And,
hell yeah!
And the energy was great. It worked out well. Our voices worked out well.
Yep.
So everything matched perfectly. So it was a good collab. And then we had, the feature white boy in the middle of the music video. It was dope.
Yeah, the video was awesome.
Thank you.
Like the video was a really cool video. So now, you talked about the Home of the Hitters, right?
Yes.
So what? Tell us a little bit about that. For people who don't know, like especially now you said bouncing back and forth.
Yeah. So it was my first consistent filming project that I had.
Mm-hmm.
It was a YouTube web series where it started off on YouTube at least, and took place in Flatbush. Was very much involved with street life, but a lot of the situations that came up in the show, what I liked about the show, just from behind the scenes that fans might not know, is that we didn't have a script. It was actually all improv.
I love that.
So we
No
used
script.
No script.
Wow.
At all.
We almost do that here.
Yeah, like no script. But no, so we had a lot of basically a lot of the actors all had some sort of experience with what was going on in the show. So as the show developed and as we're doing our scenarios and our scenes, we really just acted off of how we would really act out.
So it was just raw.
Yeah, it was.
Nice.
A lot of my childhood experiences and like my homeboy's child experiences, a lot of it was just very raw, and it was tough because we had to do a lot of takes sometimes.
Yep.
Sometimes things would just go off in a direction. Maybe it was too violent for the camera. Sometimes it was too sexual for the camera. There was just certain things.
Mimo, put your clothes back.
I wasn't supposed to do that. My bad. So, but I really enjoyed that part of it. And I was in the first episode. Towards the end, I was all in the second season.
Yep.
Not the first episode. I meant first
season.
I was in towards the end when they first recruited me. I honestly don't remember how I got recruited.
I was gonna ask, how'd they find you? What were you doing?
I don't even know, honestly.
Just living?
I mean, I've been in entertainment business since I was a teenager.
Okay.
So I've been around. Who actually approached me and came up to me? That part, I honestly
don't
don't
remember.
remember how that happened.
So when you were a teenager, how'd you get into that?
Modeling.
Modeling?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, cool.
I started off modeling. Started off as a video vixen, just doing some, whatever, random music videos with different artists.
Cool.
And little by little, I started meeting bigger people in the industry.
Just working.
Producers and bigger artists and stuff like that. And I just ended up finding connections, I guess, from that.
It's the best way to do it.
Yeah, so the people would actually just DM me opportunities, and Home of the Hitters was one of those opportunities. I think it was probably the director who came up to me about it, and asked me to offer me
figured
the
out.
opportunity. Oh, matter of fact, I remember who it was.
We're getting back. We're getting back there.
I remember who it was. It's been a while. I'm sorry. So I'm trying to bring up everything. It was my boy Six. He actually asked me about if I was interested in acting. Six was a big link in New York for models and music videos.
Cool.
So he knew me as a potential model for music videos, but then he approached me as far as where I want to act.
Hell yeah.
And that's when I was like, oh, absolutely.
Definitely.
Like, let me try that, you know? So he linked me with the director for Home of the Hills. And when I met the director, we just had such good chemistry.
Yep.
We hit it off, and I became one of the main actors in the show. Right off bat. Like, it was just
Right from the get, just like that?
yeah, like it worked out. It was great. I had really good chemistry with the other lead actor in there, and we just kept it rolling.
Nice. So when did Home Did It start?
This was 2016 or 17, probably.
Okay. Oh, you're making it seem like it was ages ago.
I mean, for me, like
She's all over the place.
my 24 hours is like 72 hours.
Oh,
I don't
God.
have a normal.
Yes,
time
you're.
schedule. Like I work at night. I work during the day, so you could, if I'm still on yesterday's time. I don't
Which is
sleep.
crazy. It's a crazy thought. That's a crazy thought.
You're getting 3 days in one.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, I mean, like you said, you're doing so many different things. You're a PA, right?
Yes.
So
Licensed PA. I don't work as a PA.
Okay, so licensed PA. So
For those of you who don't know, a PA is a physician assistant in the medical world.
I mean, this is like perfect timing, really. Especially now that they're coming out, saying that COVID came out of the Chinese labs, and a lot of information coming out regarding like the ineffectiveness of the COVID vaccines.
Right.
As a PA, like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, what are your thoughts on like COVID and the vaccine? I know it's very broad, but I'm sure you get that discussion a lot as well. But
Yeah. So first off, just a disclaimer: I don't work with patients anymore, so I'm not in that field as much as like years ago when I used to be more up to date with everything that's going on.
okay,
You're doing virtual
But
now, right? Not
I
hands-on.
work virtually, and I'm not really hands-on with the patients like I used to be, so it's different for me. Like, I'm on a completely different angle. It's very passive in a sense. But my personal opinion, as far as like vaccines go in general,
yep,
there's vaccines that work, like polio, where you see almost complete eradication of the disease with certainty, right? We know polio existed, and we know polio at some point was almost 99 point whatever percent eradicated,
Yep,
right?
yep.
You don't see it anymore. Same with varicella. At some point, everybody had the chicken pox. We used to have chicken pox sleepovers.
I still have a chicken pox.
Right, you still got the scars, right? And then at some point, the new generation, they never had chicken pox because they got the vaccine for it.
That's wow.
Yeah.
I have not thought about that. Like, I feel
Yeah.
like, I mean, I wouldn't be around like the younger generation so much, but I feel like I don't hear anyone getting chickenpox.
They don't. And when we were younger, with one kid on the block got chickenpox, our parents used to send us to their home to purposely get chickenpox.
To get it out of the way.
Yeah, just to get it out of the way because there was no vaccine for it.
Like, yo, run down the Scots. Go get the chickenpox.
Yeah.
We rarely
Get it.
see that now.
Yeah.
You get some pockets because there are a select group of areas where it's more prevalent, where parents are
Right.
not vaccinated,
Absolutely.
right? And that's where you get those pockets. Oh, there's a
Right.
measles
A
outbreak or a
measles and
chickenpox
right,
outbreak
absolutely.
because of those little pockets.
Yeah.
So if everyone, for the vaccines that do work, because I feel the same way as you,
Right.
if everyone for the vaccines that do work vaccinates their children,
Right.
then you won't have those issues.
Absolutely. Yeah, so you got those vaccines that do work, right? There's a couple of them. Tetanus, I think, is one of them too, actually.
Okay.
Tetanus, I think, is pretty effective.
And I would say rabies too, right?
Rabies,
Because
yeah.
I mean, if you see someone who gets
Absolutely.
encounter with rabies
Right.
and they don't get the vaccine after they're bit,
Right.
they're ending up with lockjaw. They're going to be in bad shape.
I was gonna ask what's like the side effects of rabies?
A big one is
I think
lockjaw,
it's
right?
death. No, that's tetanus.
Oh, that's tetanus?
Tetanus.
Oh.
Yeah, I think the side effect of rabies might be death.
You just died.
No, rabies. It is. I think it's like it's
No, but it's I think it's nervous system something.
yeah, right. You
I
start to
don't
get a
know.
lot of like spasms and
yeah,
stuff.
it's not good. Not good. Don't get rabies.
You remember the rabies, man? You remember when I was working at Baseball Plus with all the raccoons? I worked at it's like this indoor facility. It's amazing. It's huge though. And I was probably 15 at the time, 16. And just think about, you can't see the end of this place when you look in.
Yeah.
And it's all baseball cages. So nets everywhere. And I get to the end, I'm shutting off all these lights, and like I see like a tail come down from one of like the beams. I'm like, okay. I look up, I do like the double take, I'm like, holy shit, it's a moose of a raccoon.
Right.
So I just ran into the infield. And like I called my boss at the front. I'm like, I'm not leaving here until like this raccoon is gone. He's like, they're back? Yeah, I'm like, what do you mean they're back?
The infamous coons are back.
He's like, yeah, we used to have a problem with them. I'm like, no, you still have a problem, dude. Like, they're all over the place. Like, and so now I'm walking through this place, and he it was the best job ever. They would come in, work out, we would hit, throw, but I would go close the lights, and I'd be like, head on a fucking swivel, just looking up, running.
Oh no! They ever attacked you?
No, we had. They didn't really attack anyone, but like they jumped down, like, and there's softball in the back, and this dad thought it was attacking him, so he actually killed it with a bat. And I was like, I looked at my boss, I was like, you can't let this be a thing.
Right.
Like that's bad.
It's not good. I guess I could X this because it's you and we're close like that, but you know those little raccoon tail butt plugs? Have you ever used one?
I used the foxtail one. Not the
I knew it.
You hungry? After talking about foxtails?
Yes.
I think the appetizers are
Let's
ready.
do this.
They're here.
You're listening to the Oven Podcast. Thanks for tuning in.
So we talked about the vaccines that do work, that we know work. Do you have an answer for the COVID one? Is it, what are you thinking? I don't want to harp on it too much.
I think it's one that works less.
Okay.
Just to put, I would compare it more to the flu vaccine, where there's so many strains of it that we can try to make, we have a flu vaccine that comes out every year based off of what we think is going to be the strains that are common for that year. But how many people get the flu vaccine and still get the flu anyway after that? Right. So
do you know the number?
I don't know the statistics. I know that it's very high because when patients call me and ask me, they're like, "Oh, but I got my flu vaccine." I'm like, "But that doesn't mean you're not going to get the flu. The purpose of the vaccine is to reduce the severity of the symptoms if you do get it."
Okay. All right. That makes sense.
Right.
So it's not really a vaccine.
It's theoretical, maybe. It's supposed to reduce your symptoms. How bad would your symptoms have been
if you didn't get it? Yeah.
We don't even know.
Yeah, you don't even know.
We have no idea because there's people who got COVID who aren't vaccinated who have very mild symptoms anyway.
Yeah.
Listen, certain groups, if you're high risk, I feel like what's the harm in getting it? If you're low risk, it's 50-50.
So I got the actual vaccine. It was just fucking doof right in.
But just one or the boosters? Or?
Nah, just the one. I got the Johnson & Johnson.
Harry, this is crazy. The wine. Oh yeah.
This is really good.
Yeah, how you doing? How you doing over there?
I'm almost done.
Slow down, breathe.
Well, let me ask some questions. My turn now.
All right.
There you go. I tried to save you.
So I just want to touch on that time where you surprised me with a video of you and Uncle Murda. Ronnie, I'll give you that video too. It made my night.
You still have that?
I still have the video.
Mario, what up? Yeah. Whoa.
He said my name. I'm gonna get rid of that video? No. Mario, what up? Yeah. Whoa. That was good.
How many times I've seen this fucking video?
He's gonna kill me.
So, I was coming home from a fucking Clover date. I found out Clover still exists. This was years ago, so I had to check.
He re-downloaded.
I thought it was Bumble.
Oh, that's one of them. Clover's another one.
He was on like all dating apps at one point.
He's like an all-star on Bumble. Like he gets achievement awards on Bumble. He's laughing, but he's not denying
it. Though. I believe it.
I felt cool on my date. I was like, "Hey, Uncle Murda, you want to see?"
Yeah, sure.
But how'd you end up even working with him? That was my question.
I didn't work with him, just to be clear. Like I said, I've been in business for a while. A lot of connections, know a lot of people. And that was just one of the passerbys, I would say.
It's a good little passerby.
No, it didn't end well.
Really?
It really didn't end well. It was not a good experience. I just kind of deleted that part of my life and moved on past that. But I met him through a friend of mine, DJ South.
I'm gonna go back to your DMs for a second. So.
Is that necessary?
No, we won't talk about the dick pics. We'll talk about something else.
All right.
So you send me a text. You're like, hey, I've been talking to this like NFL player. Is he any good? And I'm like, what's his name? And I didn't get your permission to say his name, but am I allowed to say his name? I won't. We won't say his name. So she sends me who's messaging her. I'm like, he's a fucking Pro Bowler.
Really?
Yes. Pro Bowl, wide receiver. She was in the DMs, or he was in her DMs. You made that happen. I don't know how.
He loves talking about your DMs.
He likes to talk about my sex life.
She's my sex therapist, too. Come on. But we'll turn the page. We'll go to something completely off topic.
Wait, so I thought you were going to ask me a question about my sex life pertaining to him.
No.
Okay.
Not
You
even threw him off.
You didn't want to say his name. We won't blow him up like that.
I don't want to say his name. We could talk about what we did. I don't want to say his name.
We'll say that for a rainy day.
Okay.
Um,
I don't know if he's married. That's the thing. Listen, there's a couple artists that I slept with that are married and that were involved in relationships when I was with them. So I don't want to put that out there and be like, you know.
You need Jesus.
I think if you don't put it out there, everyone's gonna be like, who is this?
Every artist that she worked with as a wife, who is she?
He's putting you on the spot. This isn't me, so.
There's been some artists where I was like, yo, you really foul for that. Because I didn't even know they were married until after.
Yeah, until after.
Yeah.
That's not really your fault.
It's not.
No.
But they don't necessarily, they don't
Come on,
approach
say
me
it.
as a married man. They would approach me as a single guy. And then me not know, because I'm not in the entertainment business in a way where I'm like trying to see what everybody is up to. I don't care about that. I don't listen to the radio. I'm not looking at the news and TV and all that. So I go and I do what I do with somebody, right? Next thing I know, I see something come up and they're like, oh, it's him and his wife and his 3 kids. And I'm like,
The fuck?
I had no idea. We went to dinner, we went to the bar, we went to his hotel, we fucked raw, and then I didn't know he had a wife.
Oh, God. Usually I'm the one that's like,
That was good. That was
bad.
on the fingers and everything.
I'm just saying, this is what it is.
Oh, I actually just lost my train of thought of what I was going to
Go
say.
back, go back.
She was talking about she doesn't listen to the radio. Not only does she not listen to the radio, okay, but she drives in silence.
Are you okay?
Why is that a problem?
No, you need therapy.
No,
for
sometimes, no, all right. Well, sometimes I drive in silence and it's like completely by accident. Like the song stopped and like I'm just driving. But like, that's like an everyday
thing? Yeah. I have complete silence in the car when I'm driving.
So you're just passing time.
No music. I don't listen to. Yeah, I don't listen. You know what's funny? Even if I do choose to listen to music, I don't listen to hip hop.
What do you listen to?
I listen to Spanish music.
Okay.
Sometimes. If it's at night, I listen to classical.
I was gonna say you definitely listen to classical. If you're not listening to any music,
Yeah.
you definitely
At
get on the
night,
classical.
Sometimes I do listen to classical, but oftentimes I prefer silence, complete silence.
That's not. I guess it's really not that weird. Like
He
when I was
says I'm
going.
a serial killer, so.
No, yeah, if you drive every day, no music, throw on a podcast. The oven, maybe. Throw on a podcast even, okay? But silence, that's serial killer type shit.
I don't know. Like when I go to the gym, I don't listen to any music.
Me neither. I don't put music on for the gym.
Like
No headphones at the gym.
No.
No headphones.
No, that's wild.
No. Never have.
You sit in the sauna with no music either?
Oh, I can't tell you last time I've been in the sauna.
No.
Planet Fitness don't have
It's
a sauna.
uncomfortable.
They do, actually. Some do, I think.
Not Levittown.
Yeah. No gym music. It gets in the way.
For some reason, like the earbuds don't even stay. I need the ones that like are gonna wrap
The
around my
hook-
thing.
Right,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
the same thing. It's uncomfortable. It gets in the way. I just don't know.
Because you guys both have weird shaped ears.
What's weird about my ears?
But we're
You just had to
moving
say
on.
something.
We're moving on. We're too off topic. I'm done talking about your ears, your raw dog shit. I'm done.
What?
You brought up Spanish music.
Yes.
Sorry, I hit your knife. You brought up Spanish music. I want to talk about your father for a minute. May he rest in peace.
Okay.
You mentioned he was
Thank you.
actually a weapons trafficker for the Colombian mob in New York, right?
I don't know who he was working for. Colombian.
He was Colombian,
Whether
not
he
necessarily
was
working for the Colombian mob.
with the mob or against the mob or which faction of the mob, I don't know.
Okay.
Never got into that.
Okay.
Thank
Well,
God. But
Well, you showed me a picture of him, and he looks exactly like Pablo Escobar. It's the craziest thing. Any picture I've ever seen of Pablo Escobar, that's what her dad looked like back in the day.
he does look like Pablo Escobar.
Does he?
He does. Legit. Like mustache and everything. Just straight looks like Pablo Escobar with the curls.
But you don't know if he was involved with Pablo's crew.
I don't think he was. I don't think so. Only because, actually, you know what? I'm not even going to make that claim. He had money at one point, and then he didn't have money at another point, but it was because of other issues, not because of his business.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Okay. Now, you've told me some stories, a couple of them like Hollywood-esque, the way you put it together. And, you know, a lot of people in New York are kind of familiar with the Italian mob, and they think like, oh, the Italian mob doesn't touch women and children, which is not necessarily true. Mm-hmm. And then when you talk about the people that your father was involved with, it was very cutthroat. There were no boundaries. And tell us how that made your relationship with your father. You were his only girl, right?
Yes.
You were his little girl.
Yes.
The only
There's
girl.
more to that.
Yeah.
But I'll elaborate on that. Yeah.
You were his baby.
Yeah.
And he felt like he had to protect you at all costs.
Right.
So tell us about your relationship, you know, being a little girl, your father involved in what he was involved in, dealt with some crazy people, and tell us about your relationship with him and how that basically helped you guys become closer, actually.
Okay. I have to kind of omit certain parts because I don't know who his enemies are, and if they're still or if they're still alive. But because I know how Latino culture works, and that a lot of the things are generational, and that we are taught who our enemies are.
Right.
For that reason, I'll omit certain things. But my older sister was born in Colombia. I'm the baby sister, so I was born in the United States when he was obviously here. And me growing up as a street man's daughter was probably, in hindsight, it was a different type of experience for me than most other girls growing up. I didn't know any different because that was my normal.
Yeah, that's
me growing up is like, okay, this is just life, you know. I wake up, I have to make sure I don't get kidnapped, I have to make sure I don't get raped, I have to make sure I'm not, you know, in a certain place at a certain time so that I don't cross paths with certain people. For me, that was my normal. So my life was definitely affected by his lifestyle. I don't know, one thing that we talked about was the car thing.
Yes, please.
Right.
I mean, when you first told me, you kind of told me that years ago, and I'm not even sure, like, I knew you very well at the time, but it's a story that, like, I never forgot, obviously to this day.
Right.
And I brought it up to you the other day when we were just having our little heart-to-heart. Take us through that whole car situation. And this wasn't one day. This was every day of your life.
Thing, right.
You're getting ready to go to school, and this was the routine.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is my regular routine.
I can't wait to hear this.
I didn't know that this isn't normal, but my father used to go and start the car ahead of me, and I used to have to wait a certain distance away, like down the block, and wait a few minutes for him to start the car because he thought that just in case there was a bomb attached to the car, or when he turned on the ignition, it might blow up. So he would say, okay, then we turn on the ignition, you wait a few minutes, and then when I give you the sign on the rear view mirror, on the side view mirror, okay, I could go and approach the car. He just wanted to make sure it doesn't blow up when he goes in. For me, I'm just like, oh, this is normal routine for me,
I'm
right?
girl,
It's every day. Like, all right, let me go. Wait for my dad. All right, you turn on the car. Okay, 1, 2.
Oh, no
3.
explosion? Yeah, we're good.
Oh, I didn't blow up. All right, let's go now. Let's go.
We're laughing, but it's
that was
crazy
my
to think
normal
about.
life.
And it's sad at the same time.
Right, but
we kind of take
I
for
didn't know
granted
any
the
better.
cookie cutter life that that we've end up in. And I'm thankful.
And where were you living when all this was? When this was
Astoria, Queens.
in Astoria? Okay.
In Astoria, Queens, which at that time was there was a lot of Colombians and Greeks at that time.
Colombians and Greeks, you said?
Colombians and Greeks.
Okay.
Yeah, predominantly. This is in the 80s and the 90s.
Yep.
Now Astoria has become.
It's all
like a mini
gentrified.
Manhattan,
Yeah.
It's completely gentrified. But definitely at that time it was mostly Colombians, Greeks, a little bit of Arabs. Everybody just kind of. That's usually how it goes. They usually stick together in the same community. But yeah, that was my normal for that type of. And I'm sure there's a lot of other things that for me was normal that I still to this day may not realize that it's not normal.
Right.
Because
Definitely.
I don't know any
But
different.
you just haven't come across normal for that situation, so to you
Right.
it's still normal.
Because that was my childhood, so I'm not thinking anything is weird about it. And so when I talk about it with people like you years ago, and you're like, "Wait, you actually did that?" I'm like, "You don't? You mean so you didn't go and wait for your father to turn on the car?"
In the last 8 years, we've had so many conversations where I'm like, that's not really how it goes here. I don't know.
I had no idea, So my mother was not in the picture as much, so it was mostly my father being the childhood influence for me, growing up. So I grew up in the shadow. And I guess the tough part of being a street man's daughter is that all his enemies know that the best way to get at a man
It's at the family.
is go for his daughter.
Yeah.
Go for his baby girl,
Mm-hmm.
And even though I had an older sister, his baby girl was just considered more of the prize, I think.
Yeah, like more value.
Yeah. And so I had become a target in his lifestyle for some period of time where I had to change my lifestyle accordingly just to make sure I survived. But
Shit. Well, hey, I appreciate you talking and bringing all that up. That's some deep stuff. That hey, I mean, it's your lifestyle.
It's my lifestyle.
It's your norm.
Right. So when I talk about home of the hitters, a lot of things that came up when I say we did a lot of improv.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of those scenarios that came up, I didn't need a script for
Yeah,
it.
you lived it already.
I'm just like, this is just normal. This is exactly how we would actually move, And yeah.
That's nuts. Like just waiting, a couple 100 feet down the road.
And then I asked her, like in The Godfather, and she's like, oh, I've never seen that.
I know.
I told you, like, you have to go to watch
One of
Godfather.
these days, I'll watch it. I'm not big on TV.
Tell us about the other story where he knew what was about to happen and he set his whole day up for you.
The cop thing.
Yeah.
So somehow he knew the cops were looking for him.
Okay.
And somehow he knew he was gonna get caught that day, or maybe he put himself into the position to just turn himself in. And he wanted to go take a walk. So we're taking a walk around the block. He went and bought his cup of coffee from the bodega. And he's basically telling me about, it was a departure conversation, telling me like, okay, if I'm not here, this is what you gotta do.
Yeah.
You take care of this, that, and the other thing. Don't worry about this, I'm gonna be okay. You just gotta make sure that you do A, B, C, and D, right? So he was kind of giving me a rundown. Me not understanding why.
Yeah, you didn't even know what was going on. Yeah.
How old were you at the time?
I was young. I was somewhere between, I must have been like somewhere between 8 and 10 years old or something. Like I was young at that time. So I'm walking with him, and then an unmarked car comes by, and he's like, all right, I gotta go. That's my ride. And the last thing I remember is him putting down his cup of coffee on the curb, and basically the, I guess, undercover cops coming out, they arrested him.
Mm-hmm.
He walked willingly into the car.
Yeah.
And they drove off. And me as a child, that lasting impression was my father disappearing in a cop car and just his cup of coffee on the curb that was sitting there. And that was my last memory of him. He did get out.
Okay.
He did come out. He wasn't in for a long time. I don't know what it was for, or, we don't talk about the details, Eventually he got out. It was a short thing. But that image stayed in my head because
Hell yeah.
it was that departure of losing the only parent that I had, my father, and me being left alone. It's like, all right, what do I do now?
Yeah,
with
what
my
am
life?
I? Yeah, I'm 10 years old.
Like, do they just assume that I have another parent to take care of me? Do they just assume like, where do I go now?
Yeah, like they didn't take you somewhere. It was that's
to this day, I don't understand why they didn't ask to see if I had another parent. To
yeah,
take care
it's
of
crazy. Just like leave you standing
was
there on the sidewalk. Like.
Literally left me standing on the sidewalk, and my father was my primary caregiver. So they just, I don't know, they just literally left me on the street.
That's
But,
crazy.
Yeah, that was.
We'll get back to that
This
with the entree.
this smells unbelievable.
I'm so
You're listening to the Oven Podcast. Thanks for tuning in.
As we dig into this barbecue brisket po' boy,
Oh boy.
just want to finish up our conversation with about your dad.
Okay.
You guys keep going. I'm gonna munch this.
Wait, so do I eat it like that, or do you eat with a fork and knife?
Oh, I'm going. Yeah,
You
we're
can
going.
eat it however you want. Oh no, you can get messy on here. It's fine. It's totally fine. So those stories about your dad, like I found those so interesting. I was like, I gotta bring those up. Now, towards the end of his life, when I first became friends with you, he actually moved in with you.
Yeah.
And he had this slow decline. And this tough mobster just slowly came to his death. I'm going to read you a quote. It's one of my, I wouldn't say favorite quotes. I don't know if favorite's the right word, but it really strikes a chord with me. And for me, after my dad had open heart surgery, for you, this tough mobster, like my dad, he was always the protector, the provider growing up. To me, in my eyes, he was the strongest man that I ever knew. It was, my dad could beat your dad up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would say that in a second when I was 8 years old.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And Frank Herbert actually once said, there's probably no more terrible instant of enlightenment than the one in which you discover your father is a man with human flesh. Now,
Yeah.
for you,
I could relate to that, 100%. Like, it was shocking to see a man like that, 6'1", 210 pounds, muscle, solid build, and just see him deteriorate rapidly and age. And literally seeing him age in front of me is like,
That's the hardest thing
it was
growing
almost
up, right?
unreal. Like, you don't imagine. This is literally the strongest man I've ever seen. I mean,
Nope.
he's been shot in the head, shot in the arm, shot in the leg. Guy survived with a bullet in his brain. What could kill him, right?
Fucking age.
Aging killed him.
That's the hardest thing. Like, even for me, like in my 31 years, like the hardest thing for me is watching my dad get old.
Yeah.
It's like this for everybody though.
Yeah.
Watching your parents age is like such a motherfucker, man. It's like that. Like that's the hardest thing you're gonna put in front of you. Like,
and your dad was so strong too. I used to watch you guys never hit each other in the face. It was always hit me in the arm. When you used to throw punches back and forth in full force, it's like, all right, it's on. In a joking, loving way. But
sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah. It's like it's tough. Time gets everybody, and
Yeah.
it's sad. But
Definitely does. I think that's when I really realized I'm fucked up.
you just figured that out.
I just figured that out.
No, but that is one thing about you. I mean, even when we worked in the healthcare field together, you're just always even keeled. Never.
I was like
I've
that
never.
when I was working in the ER too.
just never let shit hit the fan.
Yeah. That probably allowed you to be a successful clinician in the ER in your
Yeah.
childhood. Probably played a huge
there.
role. Did you work in the Jamaica ER?
Lincoln Hospital in the Bronx.
Oh, in the Bronx. I forget which PA working there.
I was really good at what I did because, we work at night. There's a lot of trauma coming in, a lot of gunshots and things like that. And for me, it was like, all right, there's another one. You just kind of go through, like the blood and everything. It doesn't bother me. All that stuff is just whatever. Just keep on going to the next I've seen a lot of things. There's certain things that I've seen that actually did bother me, especially when it came to children. But it's like, at the end of the day, this is the lifestyle. When you grow up in that lifestyle, you just kind of assume that's normal, you know? Until I moved to Long Island. And when I lived in Long Island, that's when I really realized how abnormal I was, because I was like,
Yeah. How much
you know what I
different it
found
is.
out the other day? Y'all tipped the mailman for Christmas. Y'all not know that the mailman has a
That's
salary?
unbelievable.
And then I just found out that people leave like a gift card or like a Christmas bonus for their mailman and the UPS man and the school bus driver who takes their kids to
Yep.
school. And I'm like, but they
Well, you
have
don't
a
want your
job.
mail getting lost, and you don't want your kids getting lost.
But
Give it
that's
to-
their job. Why are you giving them a bonus for Christmas?
Sanitation workers too.
That's another thing I found. I
Yeah,
was like,
san-
so y'all give a bonus to the sanitation workers, but they're
Yeah.
getting paid and they got great benefit. I mean, I'm not hating on you. Y'all want to pay them, cool, but
Shit, some people are giving him cash. My dad's giving him big Gatorade bottles. Like,
Your dad used to give me Gatorade in baseball too. That was his thing. Propels back in the day.
Propels, man. My dad used to, they used to call him Cooler Frank. Because everywhere he went, this dude carried a cooler. And I started doing it in high school too. It was fantastic. We'd just be drunk walking the streets, and I'd be just middle of the night. You hear my cooler just like going down the asphalt. Everyone's like, "What the fuck is going on here?"
So you're always even keel.
bro.
I was hungry. I told you I just went to the gym before this. I knew this was gonna happen. It happens every time. Ask Frank.
Yeah, no, he's actually impressive. Like, his plate is usually pretty clean.
I'm gonna catch up.
I almost don't want to give you any compliments, but you're one of the strongest women I know, strongest people I know. Obviously, we can attribute a lot of that to your tough childhood, right? And here you are. You came from that lifestyle, super successful woman, healthcare field, real estate, actress, music, you name it, you've done it. You're always exploring new opportunities to challenge yourself, new opportunities to make money. Now, in 2023, most super successful independent women feel a certain type of way
Oh, where is this going?
about masculinity.
I know where he's going.
About masculinity. Some call it toxic masculinity. But I have the privilege of knowing you, and I know that you're totally different.
Right.
So
I hate that term, toxic masculinity.
well, tell us how you feel about that.
I just feel like, just the term toxic masculinity. Why is masculinity toxic at all to begin with? That whole term by itself just rubs me the wrong way. 'Cause there's beauty and strength in femininity, and there's beauty and strength in masculinity. You can't have
Right.
toxic masculinity. That doesn't make sense. Either you have a man who's acting in his strength as a masculine male, or he's not. So what is being described as a toxic, as I guess a male of toxic masculinity, he's not acting in masculinity. He's actually acting outside of the boundaries or the role of what we would consider masculine.
Okay.
He's acting like a bitch.
Yeah.
So you can't say that that's toxic masculinity. He's just acting like a bitch. And just as there's a role for that, and there's a part where, as a woman, I respect when a man is being a man, especially because I grew up raised by an alpha male, right? So there's certain roles. And by the way, that alpha male, he was the one who did my hair before school.
I know it.
He cooked for me. Like literally, he would tie my hair in a ponytail. He would comb out my baby hairs. He would get me dressed in the morning before school.
That's dad, man.
That was my dad.
Yep.
And that is like, for me, that's a dad's role, is to make sure his baby girl is good.
Yep.
And he was the one who cooked. My mom was not there. He was the one who cooked, who dressed me, who got me ready for school.
Was he a good cook?
And he was.
Yeah.
He was, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't think my mother ever knew how to cook.
So he just took it and
He was the one who cooked. Yeah, he was.
That's awesome.
That's why he left her.
But the top chefs in the world are men.
Well, the top of a lot of things in the world are men,
Right.
but we won't touch on all that.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, you look at a lot of these things where I guess current society says, okay, the women are the one who are supposed to be cooking and cleaning and doing all these other things. But if you look at history says otherwise. History says that the king's top chef in the castle was not a woman. It was a man. How do you even imagine a female being in a king's kitchen?
Yeah, like back in the day, like that.
Back in the day, you don't even imagine that being a role for a woman, right? The woman had a separate role outside of that. So, me personally, I respect men being men and taking care of the roles. That not saying that all men have to cook, but certain things I feel like they have their things that they're good at, which is usually, I feel like men specialize in things. Men are very good at being surgeons, at being engineers, at being architects, at being professors in colleges. The majority of professors
Are men.
are actually men. So they really specialize in this one thing. What women are good at is multitasking. They're really good at managerial positions. They're good at scheduling for 150 people.
You're so right.
Making sure that you need to have this day off for your daughter? Cool. You need to have this day off for christening? Cool. And they will multitask and coordinate everything and organize it till it's perfect. So they're good at that stuff.
Yeah, because they need it perfect.
Yeah. and naturally it comes easy for them where men are not as good at multitasking. They really just need to focus on that one thing that they're focusing on.
Shit, I can agree on that. I gotta get one thing done in the morning.
And
then I can get to my next thing.
Yeah, God forbid, like you get a second chore.
I was raised like that. I was one pitch at a time. So it was like think about this, and then you think about this. But then now that I'm getting a little bit older, I'm trying to think about not that second pitch, is what's happening in that third and fourth, but how I set it up on that second one to get to third and fourth. So,
and it's hard.
Oh, it's so fucking hard.
And it's hard. It comes naturally for women because women are excellent at organizing the home, and it doesn't take away from them. It doesn't take away from them for being able to raise a child, make sure food is ready for the male when he comes home, making sure that schoolwork is done, making sure that bills are paid, coordinating all these things. That doesn't take away from her. I feel like the present day independent woman feels as if that's not enough. They feel like they should be doing the same thing that a man is doing, but you're not built for that. And I do construction. I do, so like he said, I do real estate, I do construction. I'm up there and I'm with my power tools and I'm sawing, lumber 2x4s, and I'm framing and I'm putting up ceilings and all that. And I still need to have a man help me because I don't have the upper body strength to lift a 55-pound sheet of drywall up into the ceiling to screw it up at the same time.
Yeah.
It's just not the same. And I'm a strong woman. And I could say, I bench press. I could bench press your girlfriend, but I'm not going to be able to do the same thing. Well, you don't have a girlfriend right now, I'm sorry. But, I think there's definitely a role. I think the sooner that we all kind of acknowledge and understand and accept and feel comfortable with those roles and realize that it doesn't take anything away from one sex or the other. And this is regardless if it's same-sex relationships or regardless, because in a same-sex relationship, one partner still assumes the role of one thing and another partner assumes the role of another thing. Whether you call it male or female, whatever, masculine, feminine, we both have a little bit of each energy. I'm gonna call it A and B. So if partner A has more of A energy and partner B has more of B energy, that's great.
Yeah, run with it.
It works wonderfully. Let that happen and let each one be in their own role. But you have an A and an A or a B and a B, now that's when you have issues, when they're trying to be the same thing. And that's just me.
Should go on and on and on.
I would because it bothers me when they say like this whole toxic masculinity thing. It bothers me so much.
I'll piggyback off of your, I'll let you take a bite.
How do you like the food so far?
Great.
You like the po' boy?
My mouth full. It was good. It was really good.
While you're munching on that, I'll piggyback off of your statement about energy. And I know you like talking about energy and chakras. And just something really stuck out to me last week when we were having our conversation. You were talking about how, there's a difference between monogamy and sleeping around, and how being involved with so many different people when you're not monogamous can actually affect your energy and the chakras. Can you
just
go
don't want
into
me to finish my meal.
Can you actually, first you need to use your napkin. You got a
you're
little
getting
something
me-
over here.
Because now you're getting me started on a whole other topic. No.
Well,
All right. So
I told you, me as a person, I've learned in my 31 years, I'm actually more at peace when I'm monogamous.
Mm-hmm.
So go into that and why someone will end up being more at peace if that's the case, and chakras and energy, and enlighten us.
And I've watched you grow up through your whole phase.
Me too.
Mm-hmm.
Me too.
Like I really stood by watching him. Like, all right, he's being a hoe. 2020 still being a hoe. 2021 still being a hoe. And then at some point,
Just
Can we turn the page?
you're the one that brought this up.
Energy, chakras.
Yeah, so I think as we talked about how we really got to be careful with who we share our energy with, because sex isn't just sex. You can say, women could say, and especially nowadays, women want to say they don't get emotionally attached when they have sex with men. Men, we already know, don't get emotionally attached when they have sex. They can just want to have sex out of, pure lust. That doesn't mean that there's not another exchange happening during that process. We are beings of energy. We are more than just our brain or just our body, because we can separate ourselves from those two. And
Yeah.
if I take you through like a quick exercise that I just did the other day, is I said, if you want to inhabit the body of someone else in the world, say some amazing athlete, for example, just to experience what it would be like to be in that body, to be able to swim that fast or play ball and jump that high or run that fast. Can you imagine yourself assuming that body? You can, which means you can separate yourself mentally from your current body and pretend you are in someone else's body, right? Now on the flip side, can you also imagine that you had the brain of Einstein or some crazy psychotic criminal who was like a crazy, some serial killer? Can you, for that moment, separate yourself and say, what if I had the brain of this person and I lived in the brain of this person, I had their wild ideas? Could you temporarily assume those ideas of that person? You could. And that's proof that you are more than your brain and your body, which means you are something else. So that something else is what you have to consider when you're having sex with someone, because now you're exchanging energy between that self that is not your brain and it's not your body with that other person's self. And you can very well take on their anxieties, their depression, their negativity, or their positivity, whatever it is that they're going on in their life. There's an exchange that happens through that. And that's why you look at the ancient cultures, sex has always been, it's almost like a ritual. It's almost like magic. You can create things from it, more than just children. There are sex rituals where things can be manifested from that type of energy. And it's a very powerful energy. So yeah, you sleep around, you're gonna have the consequences of that. You're gonna have that anxiety that you carry from each person that you touch, because that's real, Don't be a hoe.
Interesting stuff.
Don't be a hoe.
You kind of like blew my mind the other day. I was like, damn, that hit.
You're listening to the Oven Podcast. Thanks for tuning in.
All right, now the dessert's out. This looks
easy.
Unbelievable, by the way. I'm gonna have to come back and get this like once every couple of days, I think. So we kind of touched on, a little bit of everything, but we really haven't talked about like the real estate so much. And I don't know, I'm kind of interested in what exactly you do in the real estate game.
So I do mostly long-term rentals and some short-term rentals.
This is so good.
Is it?
Go on.
Long-term rentals and short-term rentals. And I basically do 90% of what I do is the Burr method, which is buy, renovate, rent, refinance.
Okay.
And by doing that, I'm working on having steady cash flow each month by collecting the rent. But I'm also putting myself in a position where I could benefit from the equity that the property gains over the years, which is
Nice.
the refinance. But
Yeah, the refi part.
Yeah, the refinance also happens in the initial phase, right after you do the renovations.
Okay.
Because you're assuming that you buy the property under market value, but you're walking in with a certain amount of potential equity. When you fix it up, you want to renovate it, you want to refinance it after you finish renovating it. But if you're getting it in an area where in 5 years it's going to appreciate even more, you could potentially refinance it again, take that money, go buy another.
And go, yeah, exactly.
And just wash and repeat.
Nice. That's pretty cool.
So, before we come to an end, we're going to have Via ask us her question of the day. We always have the cameraman or woman ask one question before we break out the oven. I know you thought the oven idea was really cute, but Via, hit us.
Okay. If you had a favorite strain, what do you like? What is it?
Our favorite what? I didn't hear.
Favorite strain, like the smoke.
I'm not a big smoker, so
She just likes edibles.
I think it's sativa. The one that doesn't make me sleepy?
Yeah, sativa.
Sativa.
She's like me.
I just want to say the one that doesn't, yeah, I like to be up all the time, so yeah, that one. Yeah.
Well, I'm a sativa guy too. I'm a super lemon haze. That's been
But
my.
it's hard to get.
Well, because haze is hard to find anywhere nowadays, which is annoying. Haze, like the piff, and we got our boys that have the piff now too, which is like A1.
But that's why I don't smoke much, is because I don't find sativa.
It's tough. Well, because the yield isn't as much, and it's a lot more taken care of and stuff. But I mean, if you can find a good sativa, like anytime I find like super lemon haze, I would get as much of it as I can, like just so I have it in my back pocket. But yeah, I'm a big super lemon haze guy.
Well, damn.
I realized I used to be a sativa guy. I'm more of an indica guy now. Platinum Kush.
Platinum Kush.
Remember I told you?
Yeah,
that was it,
yeah,
right?
the pre-roll.
I was like, something about this one. I was feeling good, feeling right.
We never asked you, what's your favorite strain?
I actually I don't really have a favorite right now.
You can come into the picture for this if you want.
I'm not ready. Where do I go?
Well, you're working so hard. Come here. You can...
Alright.
In front of the camera.
Okay. I had a favorite. It was pink or raspberry lemonade or pink lemonade, something like that. I had a pen. I went upstate to a dispensary or Massachusetts.
Okay.
And I had a pen and I wanted to go back and get the same one every single time.
It just tastes so good.
Yeah, well, it was good, but it like let me be creative and like awake instead of just melting. But it didn't like get me too excited or anything, so it was like a perfect balance.
We gotta find that strain again.
Yeah, I haven't seen it since then.
Next week, Frank is going to come with like a whole band of it for you.
Oh, I know. Thanks for having me.
You know what's funny? Mario says he doesn't care about like indica or sativa. It really doesn't matter. Anytime that he smokes, it's just chopping wood 10 minutes later. It's not
like that anymore.
Bro, we smoked before.
You're like a washed up dad. And you're not
We
even a
smoked.
dad
We
yet.
smoked 20 minutes before the Super Bowl started, like the game itself, and 10 minutes now. It's 10 minutes like leading into it, and he's already knocked on the couch. There's 40 people at the house. He's just sleeping on the main couch.
This is why I like sativa instead, because I don't want to be falling asleep. I can't.
I had a good time.
I have fun.
How if you were asleep? You don't even remember
I
what
had a rough
happened.
week, and I slept good. All right, it's time. I know you were waiting for this. You saw it right away. You thought it was cute.
It is. It's very cute.
There's nothing cute about these questions in here, though. I'll tell you that right now.
It's okay. That's cool.
Do you want to pick it for you, or you want to pick for yourself? Or do you want Franco to pick it for you?
Let him pick it. I know you too well, so
Some are spicy, some are spicy.
some.
I feel like all are. Oh, I got a couple in here.
Come on.
You read this one. I'm not fucking. That's like a. I mean, I don't even know what I put down on the
Are
scale.
you a fan of cock rings?
No.
Why not?
Because I had a patient who left a cock ring on for 3 days.
Oh my God. Why?
I don't know. This isn't against HIPAA, right? Am
No,
I
you're not saying
mentioning
don't
nobody's
give name, date of birth, nothing. It's just patient.
And,
Who's patient cock ring?
Was it
We're
you-
ready for you now.
Was it you that used to do the announcements, or was that Josh that would do that?
Franco Van Durga to attendance, please. Franco Van Durga to attendance.
No, but Josh does it really good too.
But yeah. So he left it on for 3 days. His balls were the size of cantaloupes from like the blood restriction and flow and all that stuff. And I was like, why would you do this? What was the thought process behind this? And he was trying to impress a girl. So
He thought that keep
Non-stop, like
perseverance. Like what was he going for there?
I think that's what it was initially, but you're not supposed to keep it on for 3 days. You're supposed to take it off.
Wait,
after,
people
like,
wear them when they're not having sex?
I have no idea.
I don't know if he.
I've only worn it during sex.
Well, you've worn it.
Yeah, what?
Why do you?
They make the vibrating ones.
Wait, so vibrating for you or vibrating for the woman?
No, for her, like they have it like it's the ring, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then like let's say it has like a little like rubber bunny
Mm-hmm.
where like the clit is, and then it has the vibrating thing inside.
Mm-hmm. And it feels good for her.
Yeah,
For real? Was she faking it or was it actually?
it was.
doing what it was.
Franco knows. Whenever I text him Johnny Tsunami, that means it was. She was a squirter.
He doesn't text me that often.
So okay. Does it feel different for you though? The vibration?
Honestly, like for me, I think you feel less because it's just constant like vibration that like the whole like
desensitizes you after some
Yeah.
time, probably. Do you stay erect longer? I don't know if I even want to know this much
I
about
rarely
you,
stay
but-
erect more than 4 minutes. It's always a YouTube short with me.
YouTube short.
No, I don't know. I think you can get some that are like tighter than others that I guess maybe holds the blood in there. But I don't know. Mine was more so for fun than for, hey, I needed to get up.
Did it have a latch to release it, or did you have to unwrap yourself completely from it? Because the problem, only reason I ask is because the ones that I've seen that are a problem in the emergency room are the ones that don't have an emergency latch or like a release latch. It's a complete ring. You can't cut it off. You can't
No, that's
disconnect
insane.
it.
This was rubber. I don't know what.
Oh, okay.
I got mine at, like Spencer's. Nothing too serious.
I'm talking about solid,
You've got so much
welded
shit at Spencer's.
metal
No,
with
no.
no detachable latch, with no nothing.
Nope. Drake did say though, pinky ring till I get a wedding ring. On that note, it's been a blast. Check her out on Instagram at Mimo Moore. Moore, Moore. Mimo Moore.
Yep.
Thanks for coming. It was a blast.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time.
Yeah, seriously, thank you so much. It was food fantastic. Great conversation. Looking forward to the next time.
We want to thank Chef Harry Poole and his team over at Jackson's Restaurant in Comac, New York for another amazing infused meal. Make sure you check out our YouTube page, click the subscribe button, and join us next time because there's always an open seat for you at the oven.